Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Sadhguru at NEHU Shillong, Youth and Truth, full talk. So anyways, back to Sadhguru with his Youth and Truth talk to see what people in this particular university, I believe, I think so, has to say. So let's go ahead and start.
Namaskaram and good afternoon to everyone.
Oh yeah, I did kind of skim through a little bit at the beginning just to see if he says the same thing. He actually says something different. I don't know what it is yet. Talking about moving water, though. I don't know why water, moving water.
Well, why this Youth and Truth? How did it come about?
Uh-oh.
Well, in the last 36 years that I've been active with people,
Maybe I should have skipped
it's been a
bit.
constant refrain like this. Thousands of people asking me this question. Sadhguru, when I was 20, where were you? You came when I'm 60. What is the point? These sort of questions have been a continuous thing that I'm hearing. So we thought we will step out and meet all those people who are below 25 in this country. So this will… right now, as a part of this, in this month, we are doing 18 universities. You are number 16 right now. But we will continue this process for another 3 years.
18 a year.
One thing is to speak to the youth. Another thing is to create a repository of questions and sensible answers for that, so that the next generation that comes, at least they will invent a new problem. Because every generation is asking the same dumb questions, but it's not getting resolved. See, if we had one kind of problem, the next generation should at least have a new problem, isn't it? If they have the same problem as I had as a youth,
That's
this
a problem.
means we are not evolving into anything better, isn't it? So whatever problems they have now, at least they must come up with a new problem, the next generation. They shouldn't be asking the same stuff. So we will create a repository and make it available for always, for all youth across the world. So this process will continue for 3 years to get every kind of questions that an young person can ask, and we will put out these answers, make it available both online and in the form of a book.
Real quick, him saying all this, I just got to think, it's like, man, I am so curious for Sadhguru to come to the United States and go to these colleges over here and hear what Americans have to say and what his answers would be too. To kind of, again, kind of like what he's saying, to get a whole bunch of different perspectives and different kinds of questions. You know, going to different colleges is great because I don't want to say every college, but generally every college in different cultures or different areas, even in the same country, generally should have a little bit of a different problem, so you get a little bit more a variety of questions for Sadhguru, especially now that even going through Europe, you know, him going through maybe just a few colleges in Europe and a few colleges in the United States, or in wherever else, just to get a wide variety of people wanting to ask him questions. That way you can increase your chances of getting a different, well, hopefully a different kind of questions. But I think most people, and this I guess is kind of interesting, that I do believe most people will have somewhat the same question, because we're all humans and we have kind of similar needs or interests, but we'll still have some variety of questions because of just the culture, the environment, and the political atmosphere wherever we live.
So that anywhere in the world, youth, when they have these questions, they have a sensible solution for this. Another dimension of this is little things, small things, keep people busy for their entire life, in the sense, most human beings are just struggling with their own thought and emotion for their entire life.
Yeah.
Our ability to think and our ability to emote are two most beautiful aspects of being human.
But it's hurting us.
But these two wonderful things that we have, most human beings suffer immensely. If your thought and emotion happened just the way you want it, would you ever be miserable, I'm asking? Hello? No. You would make yourself blissful, isn't it? So essentially, most people do not know how to handle their own thought and emotion, and this just goes on for an entire life. 50, 60 years of age, still don't know how to handle your thought. When are you going to learn, I'm asking? When is it that it's going to happen, that you will know how to conduct your body, how to conduct your thought process, how to conduct your emotion? It should happen at the earliest part of our life, isn't it so?
Yeah, it took me until, again, I'll repeat this from my last videos, other videos, is the fact it took me until college, world religions class. It was an Indian woman. She had the dot on her forehead. I'm assuming she's Indian. She definitely looks the part and dressed the part. She taught world religion, and whenever she taught Buddhism, the few words that stuck with me was life is suffering. Those words got me thinking. That's what started the change in my life. And also give it 110%, but expect nothing. So give it everything that you've got, but expect nothing. Don't expect any kind of gratitude. Don't expect anything from the results. If it turns out good, that's great. If it turns out bad, well, you'd expected nothing anyway. Those two things stuck with me for the longest time. And saying that even me thinking at that time, I remember the thought that I had. Giving birth, that's great. People cheer for that. But it is painful to give birth, though. So, so yes, okay. Wait a minute. You know, maybe people are cheerful, but yeah, it's very painful. So I get it. So those two things that I learned in that class really changed my perspective in life.
Is this usually a nap time in the university? Huh? Should we… how to use this body, how to use this mind, how to use these emotions and energy, should we learn at the earliest part of our life or towards the end of our life? So, it amazes me how for most human beings life passes without they ever figuring out how to handle their thought and emotion even towards the end of their life. Well, if you have to produce a great society, if you have to produce a great nation, if you have to live in a great world, there is no such thing as creating a great society or a nation or a world. Actually, we can only create great human beings. There's simply nothing else we can do. When we say great human beings, in some way, their genius unfolded in their life and suddenly they stood out among many other people. Right now, in my estimate, if my percentages are wrong for Shillong, you must tell me. But generally in the world, looking at people, I think not even 1% of humanity manages to unfold or blossom their genius within them. Every human being has a certain genius, but unless it finds an internal and an external ambience, it will not unfold. Just the concerns of livelihood, concerns of sexuality, relationships, family, some problems, they keep them busy, their genius will never unfold. In my estimate, I'm thinking it's well below 1%. If we can make this 10% in this generation, if 10% of the humanity manage to unfold their genius, oh, we will have a miraculous world, not a simple world. We will have a tremendously miraculous world. So, one thing that's happened, why we are more competent to do that right now is, never before our survival has been as well organized as it is today. Suppose you were in Shillong 1,000 years ago, morning if you want water, go to the river, get one bucket of water. Most people today are not even fit to carry a bucket of water for a mile.
There goes the what I saw.
Yes or no? I mean, just survival kept us so busy. All these thousands of years, just the simple survival of getting water, food, shelter has kept us full on. This is the first time, if you have the needed money, you can go to your shop and buy everything that you want for the next 1 month and not step out of your house. It's possible, isn't it? food and shelter and other things are better organized than ever before in the history of humanity, I think this is the best time to make an attempt to really help human beings to unleash their genius. And if we do that in this generation, we can become the greatest generation ever on this planet. The possibility is there. Do we have the commitment and the courage to walk the distance? Because between a possibility and reality, there's a distance. Do you have the commitment and courage to walk the distance? This is all it takes. So we are seeing how we can take youth in this direction, because every human being has untapped genius, which comes in a package and goes in the same package without ever being explored. We don't want to bury your genius one day. We want it to flourish in the world. This is why we are here. On to you.
I'll say, this is one thing I want to say a little bit earlier, but I figured I talked too much already, was the fact that it is really kind of interesting, the fact that we as human beings go so long in our lives without being able to, without understanding or knowing to control our emotions. Generally speaking, our emotions control us, which is something Sadhguru talks about. It's like, throughout life we don't know how to control our bodies, and very much one of that is our emotions. We'll let our emotions control us. We let us do stupid things. It's really weird. Now, whenever I said that, I thought about that. I'm like, that is kind of strange. Now, I don't know what percentage of people do this. I'm sure some people have grasped some portion of their emotions, but not completely. I don't think I have full control over my emotions, but I got most of it, I suppose. I'm guessing that. But yeah, it's so interesting that we are in some sense a slave to our emotions. We let our emotions control us, and and we should be superior to our emotions, and yet we are not for the most part.
Hello. A very good afternoon, everyone. Namaskaram, Sadhguru. At the very onset, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you, Sadhguru, for sharing this wonderful day with us. It is indeed a blessing to us to have you here. Let me start introducing ourselves to you. We have Riya, student from Commerce Department. We have Abhijit, student from Engineering Department. And myself, Sunita, student from Botany Department. Sadhguru, you have just landed to Shillong. I'm sure you must have enjoyed your journey. How do you like Shillong?
Well, it looks like a beautiful place, but I haven't seen much of it.
Indeed, Shillong is a beautiful city, but I must say that the beauty of this place has enhanced much more with your presence here.
I second that, Sunita. No. It is indeed true. The air itself has changed. It looks more charismatic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if I could. I'm sorry. I don't know if I could ever do that. That's just very embarrassing to say. Oh, this place is so much more graceful now that you're here. Like, no, don't. No one ever do that to me. No one ever do that. I am not blessing a place because I set foot on it. No way. Oh, that's cringy for me, or something. I don't know what it is. It's just no. It's embarrassing. Not like I've ever been put in that position, but I'm saying this now. No.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Sadhguru. NEHU has been brimming with questions. We received so many questions that it was so difficult for us to come to a few. We've chosen a few, or we've compiled some of the questions asked by you. We will be discussing those questions, Sadhguru, but before that, I would like to brief the audience about today's schedule. So we will be discussing the questions, as I said, asked by you, and then we'll have some questions that we received from social media, from those who have not been able to make it here today. And then we'll leave the floor open to the audience. So if you have any questions, you might as well get them ready. Without further ado, I would request my friend Abhijit to begin with the question. Abhijit.
Namaskaram, Sadhguruji. The first question that I want to ask is actually related to me. I'm in the last year of engineering. So now there is a very big decision that I have to make now. And people have told me that if I take decisions from my heart, I'll be successful in life. So but there lies a problem. The problem is that I don't know which thought is coming from my heart and which thought is coming from my brain. So how can I figure out like which thought is from my heart and which is coming from my brain?
The heart makes only two sounds, lub-dub. Unless the local girls are disturbing it and it's going a little crazy. Otherwise it makes only two sounds. Rest of the noise is all coming from your head. This idea that something comes from the heart, something comes from the brain, it's metaphoric, but unfortunately a whole lot of people are taking it literally. There was a time in many parts of the world, particularly in Arabia, the medical science in Arabia believed the blood is pumped from the liver. You might have heard Urdu sayings about Kalija, have you? Because they believed blood is being pumped from the liver, because liver is a far more complicated organ than the heart. Heart is a simple pump. So do not give it any more responsibilities other than continuously pumping the blood and keeping you alive. Unless somebody here breaks it. So, about the last year of engineering, I want you to change that language because this happened. Can I tell you a joke?
Oh.
I'm pretty serious about this, that's why I'm asking. This happened. A very celebrated scientist was at a dinner and he was not grandly dressed or anything, he was looking very ordinary. So the lady who was, sitting next to him, didn't pay much attention to him, she doesn't know who he is. But after some time, just to be polite, to make some conversation, "May I know what do you do?" He said, "I'm studying science." She said, "Oh, I finished that in my 10th class." So you're not going to, you're not in the last year of engineering, maybe the course, but not the last year of engineering, because for your entire life, if you learn engineering, when you're dying after 100 years, okay? I'm not preponing it. After 100 years when you're dying, you would still know, if you are a constant learning process, you would still know you know very little about engineering. With that little, many things happen, that's different. So don't be in the last year of engineering. I know the program may be closing, but not the last year of engineering, okay? So, essentially engineering means to have things the way we want. Yes? When we say this building is well engineered, I'm not saying that. If we say this building is well engineered or an automobile is well engineered, what it means is it's functioning the way we want. Yes? Of all the pieces of engineering on this planet, of many pieces of engineering, a tree is a fantastic engineering, even a mountain is fantastic engineering, because it stood there for 1,000,000 years, that means it must be good engineering, isn't it? Yes? Something that stands there for 1,000,000 years must be well engineered. Of all this, the most sophisticated piece of engineering is human mechanism, isn't it so? Hello? Most sophisticated of all the pieces of engineering. Now, because it's a sophisticated piece of engineering, it needs a certain level of attention, otherwise you don't figure it. Now that we gave you such a highly, high-tech piece of engineering, I'm asking you, did you read the user's manual?
I think there is no user manual for now.
How can they make such a fantastic piece of engineering without a user's manual? Maybe it doesn't come with a booklet attached to your neck when you were born. But indications must be there, isn't it, how to use it? Huh? Is it true somebody who's an athlete or a gymnast or someone else like that learns to use their body than a whole lot of other people? Yes? Obviously, at least one aspect of the physical engineering of the body, they seem to have read the user's manual about the physical aspects. Is it true certain people are able to use their mind better than others? Maybe they read another part of the user's manual. So, now with this heart manual and the brain manual. See, the problem is most people are prejudiced against the brain. This is a question that always comes to me. Sadhguru, I want to meditate but thoughts are coming. The common question everywhere. I ask them, see, I'll make you meditate. We will stop the liver, we'll stop the kidney, we'll stop the heart, we'll stop everything. Okay? Oh, no, Sadhguru. So you want the liver to function when you're meditating. You want the kidneys to function. You want even the spleen to function, you want the heart to function. But you don't want your brain to function for some reason. This is simply because brain is a new equipment that you got in the evolutionary process. This level of cerebral development happened more recently compared to the other systems. If you cut open any mammal, they all have all these parts, isn't it? Every part that you have here, all of them have. Even if you open a frog, most of you, your biology department. Even if you open a frog, almost everything that you have, he also has, isn't it? It is only… the big difference is only the cerebral development, which is a more recent happening. Because it's a more recent happening, most people have not figured how to handle it. So, user's manual is very important. You don't read a user's manual just before you discard the machine. You read it in the first few days, isn't it?
No, not really. I'm fairly decent at figuring it out, for the most part.
Hello? If you buy a phone, do you want to read the user's manual
I got
in the
it.
first 3 days or after 3 years when you're throwing it away? First 3 days, isn't it? So, knowing how this functions is very important. Never did ever heart generate any thought or intention. Well, when you looked at the young girl, heart beat more, that doesn't mean it's saying anything, it's just trying to compensate for the other levels of excitement that's happening. The heart is not trying to say anything, it is only compensating, you need more blood, so it's pumping little harder. That'll happen even if you run up the staircase. Yes? What happens to you little panting when you fall in love also happens physiologically when you run up a staircase, yes or no? Fear also does that to a whole lot of people.
Well, I mean, obviously with the love thing, you have chemicals that are being pumped into you, whereas the running up the stairs, yeah, I think it's probably pointing more along the lines of the fact that your heart is just increasing in blood pressure, fear.
So, heart is not trying to say anything, it is just trying to make sure every part of the body gets the nourishment of blood flow. So, it's your brain speaking in different tongues. What's your native language? What's your mother tongue?
Assamese.
So, because when you know 2-3 languages, sometimes it gets confused, sometimes it speaks in English, sometimes in Assamese, sometimes in something else. So you're thinking different people are speaking, heart is speaking, mind is speaking, no. There is thought and there is emotion. People think these two things are saying different things, they're not saying different things. The way you think is the way you emote, isn't it so? Right now, if I think, oh, she's the most wonderful person on the planet, I just have to think. Then my emotions become sweet towards her. Now I think she's the most horrible creature on the planet. Now my emotions become nasty. Yes or no? I cannot think she's horrible and have sweet emotions. I cannot think she's wonderful and have nasty emotions, isn't it so? But today I thought she's the most wonderful person and my sweetness was flowing. Suddenly she did something tomorrow that I don't like. I think she's horrible. Thought is agile, it changes direction just like that. Emotion is little sappy. It takes time to turn around. So that period, you struggle as if there are two dimensions of thing happening. Because thought is saying one thing, emotion is still going sweet, because it takes time to become nasty. Everybody struggles, but it catches up or no after some time? Hello? Today you thought she's wonderful, sweetness was flowing, tomorrow she did something you don't like, you thought she's horrible. The thought is clearly saying she's horrible, but emotions are struggling because they can't turn quickly. They take time to turn. But after a week or 10 days or 2 months, depending on how deeply you're engaged, after some time, emotion catches up with the thought. Emotion also says, yes, she's horrible, so let's be nasty to her. So, they're not speaking different languages. One is agile, another is little slow in its corners. So, it looks like they're speaking different languages. When it comes to what you want to do, you must think clearly, it's very important. Thinking clearly means, the question is not about what will get me this, what will get me that. Is your life precious to you? All of you, I'm asking. Your life, is it precious to you? So before you invest this life into something, you must look whether today if I invest my life into this, after 25 years, will it still mean a lot to me? After 50 years, will it still mean a lot to me? At the end of my life, if you turn back and I look, will I be proud of this or will I be ashamed of what I'm doing right now? Doesn't matter what other people say. But you should not do anything that you will feel ashamed of, isn't it so? Huh? It doesn't matter, people say so many things. Everybody has an opinion, it's their business. But you don't do something that you will feel ashamed of, isn't it? Then you're turning against yourself. Somebody turns against you, you can leave them and go somewhere else. If you turn against yourself, you'll have to live with it forever. So, this is all you have to look at it. Something will get you money, something will get you comfort, that's not the point. What you choose to do, will it give you a life? When I say give you a life, are you just trying to make a living or are you trying to make a life out of this? It's important. Making a living is not an issue. A worm, an insect, a bird, an animal, all of them are making their life, making a living, isn't it so? They're even making a life out of it, but definitely they're making a living. So making a living with such a big brain is not an issue. Earning your food is not an issue, making a living is not an issue. Only problem is you want to live like somebody else, that's an endless problem. I want to live is not a problem. I want to live like you, this is a problem. So, it is important, if you consider your life as a precious life, you must make sure you make a wonderful life out of this. Whatever opens up in that direction, that is the thing you should do. But when you're under the pressure of peers, somebody is saying, I'm going to America, somebody says, I'm going to the government job, somebody says, I'm doing this. So one thing that all of you should do before you make big decisions in your life is withdraw from these pressures of peers, professors, parents, everybody. Just spend 3 days to 1 week by yourself. Look at it, what is it that you really want to do? Not under pressure from other people. What does this life want to do? Do that. It doesn't matter what other people think about it.
Oh man, that is a very long answer. So what I got from that was the fact that Make a decision that'll make you happy in the long run. Not what makes you the most money, not what makes you get your promotions, not whatever else there may be. Make a decision that you will not regret. Whenever you go, like you said, 5, 10, 50 years down the road and you look back at that, it's like, you know what? I may have not made the best money, but I know I made the right decision. Which I completely agree. You can, and this goes back to, man, this goes back a lot to karma. But yeah, you can end up when you look 5 years down the road, it's like, oh my gosh, did I make a decision? I can't believe I made a decision. It's kind of like me, honestly, with a decision I made back when I was in middle school, and today I still somewhat live to regret that. I suffer that decision because I'm what if with that decision. No, but this was before I even knew anything about this. But at the same time, you know, I was really young. You know, when you're young, you can say that you're stupid, which very much so. But once you become an adult, once you start studying this kind of stuff, you have to try to make the best decisions. Don't live to regret the decisions that you make. You're going to be suffering karma. You're going to be suffering yourself by keep questioning whether you made the right decision or not, or the fact that you made the wrong decision and you knew it. But yeah, make the best decision possible, and then if at that time it ends up turning bad, I would say that, hey, if you genuinely did the best you can with all the information that you've got, and that was the best answer to that solution, and it turned out bad, you more than likely will not be beating yourself up over it, because that's the best that you can do. That's the best that you can do with the information that you got, and that's the best thing you can do with the material or whatever it is that you decided to use or do that you could do with. There, you know, hindsight's 20/20, as they say, but you know, not everyone has hindsight.
Thank you, Sadhguru. Sadhguru, this is another question I have. You have mentioned on a number of occasions that we cannot ignore the materialistic body that we have been given, and that we have to live with it. But how do we find a balance between the materialistic world and the spiritual world? Where exactly do we draw the line, Sadhguru?
Balance? Why do we need a...
See, first of all, there is no imbalance.
Yeah, I was going to say, why do we need a balance?
The imbalances come simply because of ridiculous teachings. First of all, there is no such thing as material and spiritual. Even if you're spiritual, you're walking on this planet, isn't it so? Is that material? Or will you go in space?
It's still material.
Is this material? So, how do you separate these two things? These sort of teachings and these kind of sayings, these kind of confusions have been generated by people who are not spiritual in their experience. They're spiritual because it is what to say, it's a cultural fad. Somebody read something and they think they're spiritual. You're reading something, you're reading a book. It's called literacy, not spirituality, isn't it? Oh, I read this book, so I've become spiritual. There's no such thing. All I'm asking is, let us take off this word because it's the most corrupted word. If you say spirituality, somebody's thinking of heaven, somebody's thinking of God, somebody's thinking of an egg-shaped something floating.
Hold on, where does this egg shape come from? Is that something that's talked about there? Mind you, I did react to a video called Dealing with an Egg, I believe it was, a while back. Is the egg thing like something that's discussed?
Leave that word. You have a body, for sure, it's visible. You have mind, yes? You have emotions. But there is also life energy behind this, isn't it? There's a life. Are you alive? It's a question. You are alive. So let's not give it any other name. There is life. All physical material that you gathered from outside, isn't it so? This is just the food that you've eaten. Yes or no? What you call as my body is just a food that you've eaten, or it's just a piece of the planet. What was soil became food, what was food became flesh and bone. Now we're sitting here. We gathered this body over a period of time. You were not born like this. You gathered it slowly, piece by piece, isn't it? Little by little. Similarly, whatever is in the content of your mind, whatever the content of your mind, also you gathered from outside, isn't it so? So this is a heap of food, this is a heap of impressions. Anything that you gather, anything that you ever gather, you can claim it is yours. But you can never say it is me, isn't it so? Hello? Right now, as I'm speaking, I'll take this vessel. It's become very famous, this vessel. This is my vessel. If I say this is my vessel, you will think, oh, Sadhguru's got some problem. But let's listen, everybody says he's wise. After some time, I say, this is me. Then you say, let's go home. I did not say it, ma'am. I was only suggesting, I was not saying. Because the moment I say this is me, you know this is a nutcase. Yes or no? The moment I say I'm the vessel, you know this is a lost case, isn't it so? So, this is happening to you every day. Food appears on your plate, you say, this is my food. You eat it, then you say, this is me. Case or no? Hello? You have a psychiatry department also in the university? No, no medicine. VC is saying it'll come soon.
Anyway, I kind of want to point this out a little bit. I was making faces earlier only because I noticed the audio would cut out like so suddenly. I guess they're doing a pretty good job with the audio on this one, even though they're cutting out a little bit, but still, the audio is very clean. It's really nice.
So, definitely you understand what you gather can be yours at the most, but never ever can be you, isn't it so? This is understood? So everything that's material about you is gathered from outside, isn't it? But to gather all this, there must be something fundamental which gathers all this. Let's not give it a name, we'll just call it life for now. You are alive, but you gathered a body, you gathered information and became like this. Now, if you're only experiencing what you have gathered, that is your physiology and your psychological structure, that means you're going through life process without touching life ever. Just the surface aspects that you gathered. You are only experiencing the accessories of life. See, today when people use the word life, you have to sift through that because they may be talking about their job, they may be talking about their family, they may be talking about their dog, they may be talking about their wealth or business. When they say my life, you are supposed to understand what the hell they're talking about. They're not talking about life. Yes?
Real quick, this is the question I asked him out in just the video before this one, is what is life? I asked like, life, I know Sadhguru always says this is life, but what does this mean though? What is life? I guess is life just a mere experience of life? It's really weird. Life experience life. Excuse me. But it's probably more along the lines of as your life is to experience existence. Is that it? Life is to experience existence. Life is to experience existence. I need to put that in my books of quotes somewhere.
They're talking about many things. Accessories. Accessories don't make the real thing, isn't it? This is like, for the sake of aesthetics, if you have a skirt, you will add frill to it. Now, many times it's happened in societies, it's happened to many people. They went on adding frills. Frills became so much of their attention, they forgot to wear the skirt. That's an embarrassing way to live, isn't it? That's all that's happening to humanity right now. They gathered so many things, now they've forgotten what is the basis. Only to facilitate this life to happen better, we gathered all these things, isn't it? Yes or no? Everything that we gathered, including our education, you're educating yourself because you believe, if I'm well educated, my life will be good. You will get married, why? Because you think if I'm with somebody that I like, my life will be good. You have children, why? Because somebody convinces you if you have children, life will get better. You have a dog, why? Because you understand if you have a dog, maybe life will be better. When nobody else is reliable, dog will be there. Yes. It's not only man's best friend, it's a woman's best friend also these days. So, we gathered all these things only to enhance this life, but this has been totally forgotten. So if this comes into your attention, then we use this most corrupt word called spirituality. That means you started experiencing something more than the physical. Why I'm saying this is, right now your entire experience of life is limited to seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching. This is the way you know there is a world. This is the way you know that you are existing right now. If you just doze a little bit, first thing is I will disappear, in your experience, yes or no? A little more means everybody will disappear. Then you also disappear, isn't it? Yes or no? See, you're alive, heart is beating, even brain is functioning, everything is functioning, but in your experience there is no you, there is no world, there is nobody, isn't it? All that's happened is the five sense organs shut down, that's all. So right now your whole experience of life is only through these five senses. So these five senses in the very nature of things can only experience that which is physical. See, you can see only those things which actually stop light, they must be opaque, not only physical, even the air is physical, but you don't see it. Simply because only if it's opaque, if it stops light, only then you see this. Suppose my hand doesn't stop light, you don't see it, isn't it? Do you see my other two hands? No, because they don't stop light.
Okay.
Anything that does not stop light, you don't see. But isn't air vital to your life? Hello? Just because you don't see it, can we dismiss it? Is it very important? Vital. Similarly, the life that you are is not visible to these two eyes, but it is the most vital thing, isn't it? So, there is no need to balance. They're all perfectly balanced, that's why you're alive. Spiritual process does not mean you are going to invent something. Always, spirituality was referred to as realization. Realization means what? Something that has always been there and I was stupid enough not to see it, today I saw it. I did not invent anything, I did not create anything. Something that was always there, I saw today. Though it is all the time here, I did not see it, only today I saw. This is realization. This is not an attainment, this is not an acquisition, this is not something else. This is just realization. So, realization does not change any dynamics of life. It's just the way it is. But because you realized, suddenly you're empowered. Just because we realized the planet is round at one time, it has empowered us in so many ways, isn't it so? If we thought it's flat, which as we did some time ago, no, but we just realized we didn't make it round. It was always round, but we thought it's flat. But one day we realized it's round. How it's changed our life, isn't it? Similarly, spiritual process means just this, you're not doing anything. You just started seeing everything the way it is, rather than imagining it some other way. And seeing things the way they are is the biggest empowerment you can have, isn't it? In your life, whether you want to engineer or you want to run commerce, or you want to do biology, first and foremost thing is, you see it the way it is, isn't it? If you don't see it the way it is, everything that you do will be wrong, not one thing. Everything that you do will be wrong. Suppose we thought the earth is flat and made 1,000 calculations about this planet. Everything, not one thing, everything will be wrong, isn't it so? So without realization, not one thing, everything is wrong with life.
And that's something I've been kind of pushing too, is realizing truths or facts. Truths I think would be better than facts, because truths can kind of change. And what I mean by that, it's like understanding how people are, how people react to certain things, how your body reacts. It's not always going to be the same, but the truth of the matter is, at this time, this is how it reacts. When I understand that, I can control it, or at least I know how to handle it. And realization and understanding of truths is something that I've been trying to push. I don't know if I've said it in this video or not, but Sadhguru talks about it right here. When you realize something, when you realize the truth of it, and you understand it, it's not going to be a struggle in your life. It's not going to be something that that'll cause you suffering, because you know, you understand it. What's a good example? Another good example. I guess the only thing I would think of is if there's anything that you're suffering in life and you understand why it happened, I think that will reduce your suffering at the very least. And if you understand why it's happening and you understand the truths behind it, you know how to handle that. You understand why, and you can handle it a lot better. You know what you can and cannot do. If you can do, this is something I speak of too. If you can do something about it, no, video over with, by the way, video over with. If you can do something about it, then do. If you can do something about it, you can either do something about it or don't. If you can't do anything about it, then, well, there's nothing you can do. Why suffer for something that you can't do anything about? But if you can do something about it and you choose not to do anything about it, then still, why suffer when you chose not to do something about it? If you can do something about it, then do something about it. And why suffer knowing that you're actually trying to fix things or make things better? So the understanding and all of these things will help you, I would say, reduce suffering. I don't know if it's going to end suffering. Probably suffering will always happen, probably, but at least you can reduce suffering. So anyways, this is at least part 1 for Sadhguru and NEHU. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.